Everyone, MJ here. How's it going? We're at the Laundromat. Probably one of the most requested sites that I've ever live streamed from. Amazing, isn't it? Not doing anything. I mean, I got my man bag with me. I suppose I could go wash it, but I just didn't want to. I'm sitting out front, and this is one of those drink vending machines. Actually, the concept came from Japan. It's very Japanese looking. You've seen Dave in Osaka. Of course, you guys know who Dave is. And you've seen a bunch of these machines. I'm drinking, believe it or not, a drink called Pocari Sweat. Now, if there was ever a more unappetizing name, no, I don't think so. But this is like an ion drink, and it's got, you know, electrolytes and stuff because it is hot. I've been sweating like crazy. So, took my wife and Phoenix to the mall, and I dropped them off, and I went home and took a nap because I was so tired. So I went over to the Thai place. Hey, Mike, how you doing? This bump. Went over to the Thai place, you know, for dinner, and I don't know. I gotta tell you, I still love this neighborhood, and the diversity here, you know, long before that was a buzzword, actual diversity. But I think I'm ready to get out of here. I think I'm ready to go to Kaohsiung. There's a lot of opportunities down there for me to do music projects, which are interesting. But anyway, we're at the Laundromat, and you guys know what it looks like. This is it right here. Now, I didn't take a picture tonight of me, but if you zoom in, whoops, you can kind of see in the, kind of see in the front in that corner, there's some sort of blue or green kind of chairs. And it's interesting because they are made from like 55-gallon drums. Really quite something. And that's why I'm sitting in here now. So yeah. All right, so how's everybody doing? I just want to come on tonight, say hello. You know, I have been kind of lax in live streaming. I've got a lot of other interests, a lot of other things going on. This edge trimming kind of came off. These were cut with like a cutoff wheel. These chairs, they're actually very ingenious. They're cut from 55-gallon drums, and they've got like an edging around them. But it wasn't glued on, and it's very fragile, and I just bumped it with my elbow, and the edging popped off. So now there's like a raw edge where they cut it. And because they put, you know, the trim on it, the edge trim, right, that covers it, what do they call that? I forget, there's a name for that. They didn't see need to grind it down because they were going to cover it up, and they actually put like a little cushion behind here. And it's not a bad effort. It's just that it comes off too easy. Go ahead. Hey, Frank. Yeah, I know. There was a restaurant called Pocari, but with the L. There's a heat wave here. Dave, good evening. Boy, it's late for you, man. It's 1:10 a.m. in Japan. How you doing, bro? Good to see you. And see the drink machine. You know where we're at. We're at the Laundromat. Frank, sounds to me though like being in the Airstream with the AC on is the way to go, man. And it's Sunday morning there, or actually Sunday afternoon. Sounds good to me. It's funny, isn't it? Japanese style drink machine in Taiwan's a great background. Tonight, we're featuring our classic wasabi peanuts and a Taiwan drink called Pocari Sweat, which is an ion and electrolyte drink. Actually, when I was in Kaohsiung, this doesn't usually happen to me, but I was feeling kind of faint. I'm walking down the street. You guys know me, right? I'm pretty robust. I got a lot of energy, right? I said, it's got to be electrolytes because it was hot, man. Like, unbelievable. Sweat was pouring off me. I felt like I was in Manila or something, you know? When I was in Manila, I was walking down the street and there was a lady selling like little mini towels. There's like 5 of them for 100 pesos. And as soon as I saw her, I was like, duh. Gave her 100 pesos and gave me those towels. And I took my glasses off and I'm wiping my face. Everybody carries a cloth. Everybody. And it's funny because you look a lot of old movies and there's always some big fat guy in Egypt, you know, big fat guy like me. And I'm trying to lock the exposure. And so, got a big face cloth, always, you know. So, I still have those. I don't have one with me, but they're at my house, and I still have those towels, you know, and I've used them for years. And it's just, that's what you got to do. So, it is. It is. But, as Michael Foster, one of my studio clients, says in a song that he wrote, it'll all be over soon. And it will. Because this is August. So, let's say 4 months from now, or just to be safe, let's say 6 months from now, we'll all be going, oh, it's too cold. That's what they do in Taiwan. In Chinese-speaking societies, and those of you who have experience in Chinese-speaking societies, complaining is a way of life. Way to go, bro. Fist bump. That's right. See, some people are just not entitled to know everything, right? But complaining is like a way of life, and it's even a business tactic. When you make a deal to do something and then people complain about the terms that they, you know, agreed to do. This happens to me all the time because I'm in the manufacturing business. I'm doing castings, and they're like, yeah, but we have to, you know, we have to make the molds, yeah. And we got to pour them, and it's really hot, yeah. And we got to cut them off, and we got to grind them, then we got to send them to machining. But before that, they have to be heat treated. You set the price. I don't want to hear it. So I was joking the other day with some Chinese guys. Because they always ask me, hey, how you doing? I'm like, wait a minute. Doing good. And they start laughing. Because the minute I ask them, how you doing? They go, oh, it's so hot, man. It's like, ugh. But I'm like, yeah, but you didn't die. Hey Ken, good to see you. Thanks for joining. Yeah, but you haven't died yet, so you can feel it. Yeah? And they're like, yeah. I go, because if they were dead, and they were dead but somehow still alive, they would complain about that too. But you know what I'm saying. Impossible, you know what I mean. We complain far too much. Now, there's something I wanted to show you. Because you guys know I like interesting spaces. And the other day, I found myself, there's a place in Jubei. What it is you guys have all seen the pedestrian walkways, right? There's a big busy street, got a set of stairs, it goes up to some kind of like a bridge and then down, right? Excuse me. Oh, sneeze, right? So I found like the mother or the father, what do you want to call, of all those bridges, where it's actually square all the way around. There's 4 stairs leading up on all 4 corners, and it's like a big square. I found it a long time ago. I always wanted to go up in there. I like interesting and strange places. I always have. One of my favorite YouTube videos, themes, topics to search on is hidden rooms. I love those videos where somebody says, hey man, I bought a new house. And something wasn't quite right when I was looking in this room. And I realized there's a hidden room. Oh, I love that stuff. I'm like, okay, let me see it. Shh, quiet. I have watched those videos until the sun came up, and it was 8 a.m. I was like, holy cow, I didn't sleep the whole night watching these hidden room videos. I love these strange space and different kind of space sort of concepts, right? Now, this square pedestrian bridge is nowhere as cool as that. But for a geek like me, it kind of is. Wait a minute. Hold on. Okay. So, this is a panorama. If you look to the left, that's where I came up the stairs. And then I'm facing immediately this hallway, and then to the right is a hallway that's 90 degrees. And then this is what it looks like looking out from this square bridge, if you will. And this is just another shot at the corner. Now I gotta tell you, if they had a table up there, or even a chair, I would be doing a live stream from there at night. Because I just think this is so cool. I know you guys think I'm geeky. But this is what it looks like going up to it from the street. And you see the staircase going up, then there's a landing, another staircase, and then you see the main part of the bridge, and then it hooks around to the left. Okay. And this is another shot. I try to get like more of a wide angle shot. And that's what it looks like. And these places just always have fascinated me, this kind of stuff. I don't know why. I'm just, weird like that. So, there's the overview of the whole thing. I actually did, excuse me, a video, a 360 video, but it will not display properly on prism. I would have to do a reframe, you know, and export it as a reframe, like where I'm showing what I want to show. But believe me, if there was a table up there, thing is, right? I probably would go there and take a folding table and a chair up there on Thursday night or Sunday night and do a live stream from there. As people walking by, just say, hey, how you doing? How's it going? Yeah, I'm doing a live stream now. And the interesting thing is, nobody in Taiwan would say, you're doing a live stream? Wow, that's weird. They would go, oh, that's cool. Taiwanese are just so cool about pretty much everything. Now you guys hear the fan in the background? I'm using my little fan. And if I point it at the mic, then you're gonna get wind noise, but it's pointing at my face. But seriously, they might even be inclined to sit down and hang out and be in the live stream, you know? So yeah. All right. Hey, Rob. How's it going? This month, wow. Everybody's here. And I got nothing to talk about. We're going to do open lines. Dave was asking me today if I did any droning over the weekend. Interesting, we have a new verb. I did some testing yesterday. The drone does what's called active track. When you have the controller in your hand and you see a subject in front of you, you can drag and draw like a box around the person. You just basically drag it from, like, you know, from the corner, right? And it locks on the subject and it keeps the camera on the subject. Now, if you use trace mode, either follows in the front or behind. And most of the time, people have the drone, you know, following behind because they're doing like a first-person thing, right? Oh yeah, I understand. Well, you gotta work, man. That's more important. And Ken, you know, I appreciated that live stream you did tonight, and I would definitely try that combination. I love all those kinds of different combinations because I even tried like almond milk, you know. So hey, guys, follow Ken because he does these really cool coffee reviews, and sometimes he does some like crazy mashups and stuff, and I love it because that's what I do. I love that kind of stuff. Anyway, so the like if you're doing a first person, you know, if you're doing a movie or something, you might want to have a couple clips of you, you know, from the air walking someplace like that. So you just throw the drone behind you, put it in an active track, and you walk, and it does obstacle avoidance. But there's a limit to the obstacle avoidance, and that's what I was trying to test. So I had my daughter walk down the street, and she's walking on the sidewalk, and naturally, like most sidewalks, like this sidewalk here, you walk on the sidewalk, okay, one side is street, so it's flat, but the other side is buildings. So as the drone is flying along, it detects the buildings. So it doesn't want to go towards the buildings, it wants to go this way. So what it does is it kind of turns sort of sideways, which is very, very interesting because this drone does not have sideways sensors, side sensors, but the forward sensors are not like this. They're like about 140 degrees. So the drone can turn a little bit one way or the other and still have some sensing. So it makes what we call a wireframe model in its CPU. These things are actually remarkably sophisticated for such a small little thing that just kind of fits in. I mean, literally, the new drone that I got, I could literally put it in this bag. Literally, if I took everything out, I could probably put the controller in here too. It's nuts. And so the drone flew down the street, kind of sideways, watching out. And whenever it came to like one of these overhead signs, it kind of like decided it was going to go under or around it or something. But what it doesn't see very well is wires. Now, when I needed to have my eyes on my daughter, I had my eyes on my daughter because I don't care if the thing crashes and burns. As long as she's safe. So we cross the street, and I'm looking at the drone, following behind. It's great. Around the corner is great. Everything was fine until we went into the park, and there is a thin wire. It's either the native plain old telecom service, or it's probably a piece of coax for the cable company, but it wasn't any bigger around than my pinky, and the drone did not see it. But it's up a little bit. It's a dark color. It's hard to see exactly, where the wire is, where the drone is. And I heard a noise. And the noise is propellers hitting something. So I hit the pause button on the remote control and pull the stick back so it would back off. Funny. Drone never lost control. Never became unstable. It's funny. I realize now I probably shouldn't bother with the pause button. Yeah, it's hard to say. The pause button supposedly cancels active track, and to be honest with you, I did not press the pause button, look down the remote control, and go, "Oh, did active track get canceled?" No, I wanted to pull my drone out of there. So, oh, take care, Rob. Fist bump. Thank you. Thanks for joining. So I immediately landed it. And, it didn't fall. Nothing happened to it like it didn't crash or hit anything hard. So I knew there wouldn't be like anything wrong with the body of it. The worst thing that can happen in a case like that is something happens to the motors, but usually the motors just stop. There's a lot of intelligence built into the control system. So if the motors are impeded, they just shut down. They won't burn themselves out by trying to, keep pumping current and trying to keep rotating if something's preventing them. So I ended up looking the whole thing over. And the only thing I could find was look at the prop on the very end of the tip. There's orange paint there. And the orange paint on the prop is there so when it spins, you kind of see a circle of orange that lets you know that that's the extent, that the propellers stick out, right? And that had just barely been scraped off. So it was just amazing that, that's all that happened. So the propellers must have just barely underneath, kind of sort of skinned. Maybe the word is skimmed, but I say skinned because that's trying to skin the wires. Just barely touched. But the thing that amazed me was it didn't lose stability or nothing. The only reason that happened was because I was in control of the camera. See, when you're in active track mode, it's following the subject that you highlighted. This is my daughter who was doing what I told her to do. Please just walk into the park and let's see what happens. But if I had taken the camera gimbal to 0 there's a set of crosshairs on the display, and that tells you where you are, because it's real simple. With perspective, you got a set of crosshairs, and they're here. Then you know everything above the crosshairs is above your altitude, and everything below the crosshairs is below altitude, and there's no joking around. Things don't suddenly like go like this and become higher. In other words, if they're below the crosshairs back here, they're going to be below the crosshairs up here. That's just how it works. But because I was looking down with the camera, which is the whole point, which is why, I mean, my daughter's walking into the park. Nothing's going to happen. That's why my eyes were not on her, they were on the drone. So, interesting lessons. And I'm learning these lessons on my own, pretty much. Because I don't have anyone around here that has a drone I can even talk to you about. Which is why, after flying it 4 or 5 days, I rejected the standard Mode 2 stick configuration, right? Nope. No RFID here. And so I made my own custom flight control based on what I thought it should be. Based on what, you know, how to fly a real airplane kind of stuff. So I was interacting with another guy on YouTube, and he said that he didn't initially like Mode 2, but he stuck with it, and this is interesting. He said, because I wanted to be able to fly other people's drones. You don't fly other people's drones. I've never flown anyone else's drone, and nobody is going to fly mine. This is how it is. No, you got a drone, you fly it. It doesn't work that way, but some people have their own ideas. So he was really curious why I decided to change to a different mode, and ultimately what the mode was that I did. There's a really famous drone guy on YouTube, right? And he crashed, I forget what it was, an Air 2, a non-trivial kind of expensive drone, into the ocean. He said, my drone's in 91 feet of water, is what he said. And he wasn't sure what happened. But he was able to retrieve the flight logs, and he found, he showed the stick positions right before it crashed. In Mode 2, the right stick is forward and backward, and it's side to side, left and right. And the left stick turns, left turn, right turn, but it also descends. And this is what I didn't like. I found that when I was just turning the drone, if I didn't keep that joystick straight across, if I like pressed it and kind of went down a little bit, or up, my altitude would vary just turning the drone. I said, no, that's wrong. That's terrible. And what happened was he was turning the drone and he was accidentally applying down stick, and the thing crashed in the ocean. Hate to say this, but why did it take you so long to figure this out? I put the turning, that's called yaw, okay, where the drone goes like this. I put that and the forward and backward on one stick. So when I'm flying, it's like flying an airplane. I want to go forward, that's great. I want to turn left, I go like this. I turn, you know, now, of course, as you turn, because it's a circle, you're applying less forward force as you go, and then it becomes 100% turning force. But that's kind of how it works. If you're making a tight turn, you don't want so much forward motion anyway. It seems to work just fine. and I put the sideways flight and the altitude on the left stick. And the reason one of the other reasons I did that is because what I noticed was if I'm accidentally flying left or right this way, I don't want to be, I can see that on the camera a lot faster, more discernible than I can see a slight altitude change. When I'm looking at something and the perspective changes like this, it's a lot different than when the perspective changes like this at altitude. So, got my own custom fly mode, and nobody else is going to fly it but me. And I don't know. I mean, there's a reason why there's a custom mode. But I think a lot of people are reluctant to try it. I don't know why that would be. Everything I got, I hacked somehow. I mean, really. And I'm a big believer of making my gear kind of fit into what I do, as opposed to the other way around. I mean, you have to get used to certain tech, of course. But I never, like, if something doesn't seem right is what I'm saying, that's I hack it. From day one, like all, the first gimbals I had, I hacked them to put like a foam windscreen on them and stuff, and all these things. So that's just how I am. So anyway, it remains to be seen. And the thing is too, is I've got pretty good situational awareness, and if I ever needed to go back to mode 2, I could do it. And who knows? I mean, I wish there was even more control over how you can, have what you could have on the sticks and so forth. But that's just, that's what I did. And it's relatively easy. And you can flatten the curves on them too. You can change the curves. So, like as you're moving the stick, a little bit gives you a small amount of change, and then the further you go, the greater the amount of change. Sorry, there's a mosquito that you get. You can flatten those curves out if you want to, which is I did. Because most of the time I fly it really slow because I'm shooting video. I'm doing cinematic mode. Sport mode is something I don't use that much unless I know I want to go somewhere. I want to get there quick. I'm looking straight ahead. Sport mode, just go crazy, and then once I get there, I go back into cinematic mode and everything's nice and smooth and real, straight, simple, slow move, so you don't do anything crazy and have a bunch of, jerky motions and stuff. Now, speaking of which, I showed on my last video, on my last live stream, I showed a video of the tofu rocks. You guys remember that, right? And, Facebook, I was at Jar Jar store. There's nobody around. Facebook has muted something like 60 minutes or something of that video. I can't figure out how to dispute it. I can't find a way to dispute it. There's nothing there. And the only song that's on the whole video is the one that I put together myself as a soundtrack for that video. And here's the thing that gets me, right? It's like the audio from your video is muted because it may contain copyrighted materials, which means nobody's actually disputed it. What in the world is going on with these nanny companies? What are you guys putting up with in the United States with people like policing you because there might be a problem? You know what people say that to me, there might be a problem. Well, is there a problem or is there not? And if there's not, I want you to go away and leave me the heck alone. I can't stand this. Oh, there might be. You know something, if I had $1 for everything that might happen, yeah, a volcano up in Taipei might erupt. Yeah. We might have an earthquake and the building will fall on me. You know, I'm just not worried about what might happen. I'm worried about actualities. And with this Facebook thing, they muted so much of my live stream that I don't think it's even watchable. There's nothing left. And there's no copyright strike. In other words, nobody came along and said, oh, that's my song. Now, I also simultaneously broadcast to YouTube, and YouTube has no copyright issues. So I don't know what's going on. So if anybody knows how to dispute this crap with Facebook, I would really like to know, because if it continues to be a problem, I'm just going to stop using them, because I don't really get that much mileage out of them anyway, you know. Not that I'm a big live streamer on any platform, because I'm not. But I don't like censorship, and I don't like unnecessary censorship, which is why I started those forums, you know, that I did, like the pandemic.community, you know, so people could tell their stories about getting infected with all these diseases and not have somebody, you know. So, hey, J-Boy, fist pump. I got a better one for you. It should be named Invasebook, because that's what it is. I've called it Invasebook for years. It's invasive. I can't even believe I'm using it. I'm using it because of Hago. It's changed quite a bit. On Microsoft Edge, it's almost completely, or Chrome, it's almost completely unusable. It's extremely slow. It's unbelievable. So I use the Brave browser, B-R-A-V-E, the Brave browser. Yeah, and it's pretty fast on that, but it's like, and the mobile app leaves a crap load to be desired. It is just it's just a mess. But anyway, yeah. J-Boy, how's things with you? Hadn't heard from you for a while. So, what's the report from India? I'd like to hear. So, in the meantime, I want you guys to understand that, of course, China has been putting a bunch of pressure on, I missed this, on Taiwan over this stupid politician's visit, right? Yeah. Well, the whole thing about moderation, the moderation king is, thanks, bro. The moderation king is Reddit. Well, it's not moderation, it's censorship. I got censored by a woke feminist moderator. I didn't do anything that violated any of the terms of service or that actually should be moderated. It's just that, okay, good. It's just that I said things that she didn't like, because she's a woke feminist, and feminists don't like older white men who tell the truth. And I'm an easy target. Christian, married to a biological female, biological daughter who I'm not telling her she can be a boy if she wants to. I eat meat. Yeah, the list goes on. So I'm an easy target. So I just stopped using Reddit. I won't tell you my private name for Reddit, but it does end in IT. Anyway, so I don't know what's going on with Facebook, but I don't get a lot of mileage out of it, but it has improved quite a bit, and I can see how it could be useful. But you know what I had to do? I just have to turn off everybody else's updates, because I don't care. I have like Frank's on, because Frank, does these cool rides on the motorcycle, which I dig. But, I don't want to see what everybody else shares. And I'm really tired of the politics. And people aren't really being rational But I want you to know right now there's a lot of pressure on Taiwan because of this politician's visit and stuff. And there's a lot of disinformation. I mean, I had somebody ask me today, have you seen any Chinese like airplanes or warships? No, I live in Hsinchu. I live, like 7 or 8 kilometers inland. Why would I see any of that? I mean, I hear the jets scrambling, but yeah, so. Yeah, but they're trying to make it more than what it is. I'm telling you guys that China is a dog on a chain. When the dog's on the chain and you walk by and it bares its teeth and it's growling and it's like, you go, oh my goodness, if that thing ever got the chain, it would tear me up. And then one day the chain breaks and walks over to you and it goes, and it sniffs you and goes, and then it runs away. We've all seen that. That's what's going on. Talk about crossing the median line, and there was a propaganda piece I saw today about how a PLA warship approached in Hualien, the main power station. There's no way. Taiwan has the F-16V version with the what do they call it? The electronic warfare pod and all those sophisticated missiles that they got from the United States. So I would just tell you what's going on. I don't take sides, but I would just tell you what's going on. They sent those jets out on the East Coast. So as soon as the PLA sees them, they know what's going on. So here's the thing, just like when I was a kid in school, I got bullied. Believe it or not, as big as I am and everything, I got bullied because I believed that it was wrong to fight. And I didn't fight. And I remember there was a guy, he's a kid then, but Lewis, what's his name? And I was in junior high and he was from high school, and he came down to the junior high to bother people. And the guy, he hit like a girl. He would like punch me in the stomach or something. And I had my books in my hand. I didn't even drop my books. I just let this stuff go on because I felt it was the right thing to do, not to return evil for evil. And then I never told this story before. And then one day on the school bus, I was a guitar player even back in high school, and I would bring my guitar to school. And we had like a bunch of guys that at lunchtime would play guitar together, even electric guitars, and even without amps, we would just play, right? And I brought my guitar to school, and there was one guy named Eugene, and he was like a jock and the whole thing. Okay, so you guys know what I'm talking about. And so as soon as I walk on the bus, he's given me a bunch of crap and hassling me. And my sister was on the bus with me, and he was coming after me, and she put her leg across the aisle from one seat to the other to just block him, from coming back there and bother me, so he would leave me alone. That's what a good sibling would do. So Eugene comes up to my sister, and my sister has her leg out, and he slapped my sister in the face. I hit him so hard that my feet came off the ground. I don't remember hitting anybody that hard, and I didn't think about it. But that changed my life instantly. That guy was one of the most notorious bullies in the school, and he never bothered me again, and neither did anyone else. It's amazing how bullies are, because if he was really a tough guy, he would have went one-on-one with me. But what I didn't know was, sitting behind me and to the side, were two of his pals. A guy sucker punched me on the side, and a guy actually hit me from behind. The guy that hit me from the side broke my glasses, so I picked him up off the floor of the bus, and my sister, we knew the bus driver, the bus driver was actually a student, and we told him to stop the bus. We got out, we just went to some lady's house and knocked on the door, said, do you mind if we, we're school kids, do you mind if we call my father? And those kids got in a lot of trouble. It's actually kind of funny. I never told this story before. I'll just tell you real quick. The guy that sucker punched me was named Merc Perot, and his father owned the Greensboro Generals hockey team. And my father called him and said, your son sucker punched my son on a bus in a fight between my son and some other guy. He's like, what? He was supposed to go to Montreal. This was on a Friday. He was supposed to go to Montreal Friday night for the weekend with his dad. Now, his dad made him sit home by himself after that. And his dad bought me a brand new pair of glasses, any kind I wanted. As far as the other guy, Eugene, I was friends with his brother. His brother's a martial artist, and we used to train together. And all he said to me after that was, he said, Eugene's an idiot. So my father went over to see Eugene's dad. And I'm like, I want to go with you, Dad. No, I'm going to talk man to man. I'm going to talk with his dad. My dad's a World War II veteran, okay? I never saw him scared. My dad is a guy who, after World War II, got in a fight with somebody in a bar in Buffalo, where he's from, and he pinned his foot to the floor with a knife and beat the crap out of him, and then took the knife out of the floor and wiped it off on the guy's sleeve and put it back. And that's when I said, what'd you do then? He said, well, I still had half a beer. Okay, that kind of guy. You guys know what I'm talking about. These World War II guys, they don't mess around. They kill people, you know what I'm saying? My dad went over to see Eugene's dad, and he's like, I want to know, okay, I understand he got in a fight with my son, that's fine. Why'd he hit my daughter? And now I'm hearing this from my dad as he came home. And my dad said, that Eugene's father said, well, he's not talking. And my dad's like, well, you get him down here, I'll make him talk. He goes, no, you don't understand. Your son hit him in the jaw, and the joint is swollen. He can't open his mouth. He can't even move his mouth. He didn't eat dinner or nothing. He can't speak. He can't talk. So, yeah. Don't mess with MJ. Now, seriously, I prefer the ways of peace, but sometimes people force you to be a butthead. And then they look at you like there's always a kid in school that, like whacking your ear or something, like, and then you're like, cut it out, stop it. And they're like, whoo, what's wrong with you? What's your problem? Right. So that's what, it wasn't broken, but yeah. Well, he's lucky I didn't kick him. I mean, but I had my guitar and stuff, and you guys know me, I pursue peace, right? I mean, that's the way to go. But it's different. I mean, defending yourself is a whole different thing, right? I mean, you have the right to defend yourself. And so this is the thing about China. The lesson is that they're a big bully, and they've never won a conflict. Hey, Matthew, fist bump. Wonder where you were, man. You're late to the party, but I appreciate it. They've always been a big bully. They've never won a conflict. And they think they're hot snot, but they're cold booger balls, as we used to say when I was a kid. They really think they're hot stuff, okay? But what's going to happen is, and I hate to say this, I'm not taking sides. I'm just telling you that the first conflict that they get into with a real military, because you know what happened at Galwan in India? They ran like the Indians said they screamed like women. We were very surprised. They dropped their weapons and they screamed. So they're going to run screaming. So it's unfortunate, but and some people, like when I used to carry a gun in the States, I took training and I tried to understand the morality involved, because you can't just whip out a pistol and shoot somebody because you feel like it. There has to be a specific reason, and there is a morality to it, although people will tell you that there isn't. There's a morality to everything, everything. And one book that I read, and you guys can find it if you want, it's by a famous author on the subject, and he just simply said one line. He said, some people need to be shot. They did. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, here's the thing, though. They have border disputes with every single country that borders them. What does that tell you? Who's the problem? But they claim it's everybody else's problem. They're trying to maintain this glory or get this perceived glory. See, look this up on Wikipedia. Look up the I think they call it the 100 years of humiliation. The Chinese Communist Party thinks that they've been humiliated by the Western powers and they need to vindicate themselves or something. It's ridiculous. It's just a bunch of crap. You know, China at one time, and you know, volumes have been written about this. China was at one time the most advanced and sophisticated country in the world, and then they went to sleep. They just basically stopped innovating. And then one day, a British warship showed up, and they're like, what in the world is this? And they had cannon using gunpowder that the Chinese invented, but never thought to invent a gun with it, which is kind of dumb if you think about it. And it goes on and on. And it culminated in World War II, and Japan being the most sophisticated and technologically advanced nation in the entire region in World War II, which is why they dominated China. And China feels that they have to get back. It's amazing. You know, people always become what they hate. This is strange. People and nations, and of course, you know, nations are just comprised of people. Yeah, China has hated Japan for 150 years. But they want to be just like them. So if you look at what China's doing now, it's the imperialistic nature of like 1930s Japan. They want to expand. That's all about Chinese expansionist fantasies, expanding, and you know, and we have to regain all this stuff that we lost. They think, and I've read this. This isn't like just, you know, off the cuff. They think that they're entitled to whatever land China used to control and occupy, you know, 1,000 years ago. It's really bizarre, and so they're not recognizing political realities, and that's what it amounts to. So I've always said, probably one of the most famous quotes that I've ever made, it's been quoted more times than anything else I've ever said, is that the denial of reality is the greatest expression of ignorance. And it's true. I mean, you can't have a greater expression of ignorance at all than to deny reality. You deny reality, you deny everything. And that's what they do. They're big deniers of reality. And I've run across this before. Many Russian people are like that too. It has to do with the education system. They just deny reality. And it goes along with, you know, all the way back to like when the Nazis used to say that if you repeat a lie often enough that everybody will believe it, and that's true. And so if you deny things often enough, people will tend to disbelieve it. So, yeah, that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a whole bunch of stuff that are just, it's consummate with what the Bible calls the last days. And the last days are hard to deal with. And they are. It's hard to deal with. It's hard to know what to do. So, yeah. But don't believe what you're hearing. Hear any warplanes? Hear any bombs? I mean, you hear my little fan, but let me turn the fan off. It's 1 a.m. Sunday night, Monday morning. It's nothing. So don't worry about it. And yes, I am using the Laundromat Wi-Fi. That's amazing. But yeah, I've been to China 4 times and I won't go back. And the truth is, probably if I went back, they would probably detain me because I'm a U.S. citizen. And they always try to find, something wrong. But I've had some interesting encounters with various immigration officers in the various countries where I've been in. And China had a very interesting experience in one of my trips to China. When they examined my man bag and they found a flask, a metal flask with whiskey in it. So, yeah. So what time is it? We've been on the air for 56 minutes. Wow, I've been yakking for almost an hour. Can you believe that? I need to get out of here though. But yeah, it's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure talking with you guys and hanging out. And don't worry about what's going on. This is going to blow over. Nobody's ready for a full-scale war. This is just, look how massive it is. That's what's going on right now. People are just, showing their might and their power and so forth. And it's just a showy display. And this has happened before. If you look at Wikipedia, you can look up Taiwan Strait crises, and there have been several. There have been several. This may actually be like number 4. I don't think it's actually going to be considered a full-blown crisis yet. But it would be, I think it would be number 4 when it happens. So, yeah, that's very true. That's very, very true. Because they're hollow, right? Yeah. All right, empty vessel, right? Yeah. So, it's funny because Twitter is banned in China, but the PLA uses Twitter to broadcast their propaganda to the rest of the world. It's actually hilarious. And the Global Times, too. That's Chris Chappell's favorite media source. That's the official Chinese Communist Party news organization. The Global Times has all kinds of stuff, and it's just, it's hilarious. Don't believe a single word of it because it's just designed to make you think that you're going to lose, and it's just designed to make people give up. And that's just the whole thing about. You've guys seen the map about them circling Taiwan and stuff, and it doesn't even constitute, according to international law, a blockade. But here's the thing. The other countries in the world, they just won't permit it to happen. When it finally happens, if it does, they're just going to come over and just smash a beer bottle on China's head because they're tired of it. No, everybody needs their chips. They need all the stuff that's made here, all the computers. I mean, everything's made here. Asus, right? Asus and Acer. Forget the chips. If just those computer brands were no longer available, what would happen? I mean, it would crash the economy of the world. So a chip bond down the street and all these other chip foundries that are in this neighborhood, many of the Filipinos that are here because they work in clean room environments making chips. And I know a lot of foreigners that have visited here. I met them. They're engineers. They're working on the wafer spinners, and they're doing all kinds of really interesting things that super high-tech maintenance on these machines that make ICs, chips. And the other countries in the world are not going to permit anything to happen. So Eugene was a bully, and he got his jaw smashed And that was the end of it for him. China is a bully, and something bad is going to happen. And they may actually be, in the end, they may get completely destroyed. Because, see, at least with me, there wasn't anybody else on the bus that said, yeah, you know, Eugene, I'm tired of you too, and piled on him. And if that had happened, it could have been really bad for him. You know, probably somebody would have had to intervene and pull everybody off of him. But China has, you know, they got Indonesia, they got Vietnam, Malaysia, Philippines, you know, Japan, you name it. They're all, and India on the far side, they've all had it. They're all done. They're tired of it. And I read these statements by these different governments and their positions, and I just try to understand it. You know, it's nice not being involved, because then you don't have to, you know, you're not like filtering what you see. You just take it in and you read it and you go, okay, I understand. I'm just trying to understand like the big picture, right? But the way I see it is they're all tired of it. And so the minute they do something and one guy throws the punch at Eugene, the rest of them are going to go, yeah, and they're going to throw the punch too. So I don't think they're counting on that, because in this recent thing that they did, they fired some missiles and they landed in Japan's economic zone, and Japan's like, whoa, wait a minute, hold on. Okay, so you're mad at Taiwan, and what, do you shoot missiles at us? So yeah. Not only that, Mike, they're buying up farmland. Okay, but it's not that China's wealthy, it's that individuals are wealthy. Yeah, they're buying up U.S. farmland. Yeah, they're trying to control. See, this is what happens. You close your eyes to reality, and you don't see what's going on. And so, yeah, they're buying up farmland. And yeah, they want to control and they want to be able to shut down the U.S. food supply to starve the U.S. So just, you know, just watch yourself. All right, you guys take care.